Alright guys, welcome back to another exercise session. Today the only equipment we're going to use is a chair, and that's all we're going to need, and then ourselves, of course. And so for now we're going to begin our warm-up. Our first warm-up is going to be shoulder rolls. So just have your arms nice and loose to the sides of you. Now all you're going to do is just roll your shoulders back in a complete rotation. We're going to go up to 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shake them off. Take a deep breath. And then we're going to come back to 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shake your arms loose. And we're going to do another set of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's our first warm-up. Just getting everything loose and ready for exercise. Now our second warm-up is going to be just a reach. So we're going to have again our hands in front of us. Right, we could rest them on our legs, have our palms facing behind us. Now what we're going to do is just reach straight up over our heads, hold it there for a second, and then come back down slowly. We're going to do 10 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, shake it off. Take a couple of deep breaths. We're gonna rest, and then we're gonna do another set. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to do one more set of these. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have one more warm up. Now it's gonna be just a regular knee lift. Get the blood flowing in our lower body. So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We keep it seated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're gonna do one more set. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's just a general warm up to get everything warm and loose. Now we're going to go to a specific warm up. And we're just going to begin with a basic trunk rotation. We're going to go for 20 seconds. So have our hands across our chest and turn, turn, stop in the center, right to the right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're gonna go into our wrist contractions or flexions. So we just have our hands laid out flat, palms supinated, and we're just gonna bend at the wrist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Shake it off. And then we're going to have our arm circles. So we're just going to have arms spread out. We're going to go 10 to the front and 10 to the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we should be all loosened up, ready to go and begin our exercise. So for our first exercise, we're moving into strength and power. And for all of these, we could be seated and stay seated. You could do them standing up also, but seated is preferable, so we're not wasting too much energy. And so what we're gonna do is do 3 exercises consecutively, and then have a rest period. So our first one is going to be bicep curls. So we're gonna have our hands laid to the side of us, and all we're gonna do is bend at the elbow, squeeze the bicep at the top, and let our arms down slowly. We're gonna do a set of 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to move into our shoulder press. So arms bent at the elbow to the side of us, shoulder height. And now we're doing just pressing up into the air. We just said 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For our next movement, we're going to do a shrug. So we're gonna have, again, arms right to the side of us, dropped and loose, and we're just gonna lift our shoulders straight up and squeeze at the top. So another set of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Control the way down. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's our first set of exercises. Now we're going to take a rest for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, and then we're going to come back and repeat those 3 exercises. Go. So here we go, round 2, starting with our bicep curls. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure to squeeze at the top. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. To our shoulder press. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And our shrugs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's get a hold. 8, 9, 10. That was round 2. We have one more round of these 3 exercises. Now we take a 90-second and 2-minute break, and then we'll come back for set number 3. So here you go for set number 3. Bicep curls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Going into our shoulder press. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we go into shrugs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was our first set of exercises. It was a set of 3 for all of them. Now we're going to take a rest, and then we're going to go into our next set of workouts. So as we're resting, just to explain what we did for doing them all together, it's just because they're not, we're not doing weight-bearing exercises. We're not doing exercises with any weights. So with these exercises, you really have to focus on like the contractions and really squeezing without using weight to really get benefits from them. And also, since we're going really slow and steady, we're not getting too fatigued. So we're able to do multiple kinds of exercises one after another to really like get the benefits working all at once. So that's the reason why I put those exercises together. I hope it wasn't too tough, but even if you feel like you can't do the exercises continuously, then you could still break them up and just do your basic 3 sets for each exercise. But if you can do it, by all means go in and hit them continuous back to back, and then you can take your rest after you finish the 3 exercises. So now, that being said, we're gonna go into our next set, but these ones I will break up. So our first exercise in the next set is shoulder abductions. So again, we're going to be seated. Remember, sit tall, back straight. We're going to have our hands to the side, and we're going to raise them laterally. But we're raising them all the way over our head, and then we're coming back down to a starting point, which is our arms down to the side of our body. So we're going to do our first set of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was the first set. Remember to continue sitting tall. Good posture, back straight. Have our shoulders back where we're coming up. We're touching at the top, and then we're coming back down. And remember to, on the way down, don't just drop your arms. Have a slow, controlled pace on the way down, back to our starting point, and then we come back up and do it again. And that's how we do our shoulder abductions. Now we're gonna take a 90 seconds rest, and then we're gonna come back for set number 2. Go. Here we go, set number 2 of our shoulder abductions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's set number 2. Now we're going to take our rest and really loosen up those arms so they're ready for set number 3. Here we go for set number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That is our shoulder abductions. Now we're gonna rest before we go into our next exercise. We're gonna keep seated, so let's loosen up our arms. Take a deep breath. Or 2. And we're resting. But after we rest, we're gonna go into our next exercise, which is going to be a rowing motion. So how we're gonna do this, we're sitting tall in our chair. We have our arms reached out in front of us, and all we're doing is pulling back with our lats, and we're squeezing our shoulder blades together, and then we're releasing and stretching our arms all the way forward again, and then coming back and squeezing for another time. So that's how we're gonna perform our rows. So here's set number 1. We're doing 10 reps. Reach out in front of us, squeezing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We release and we relax. Shake off those arms. Now we're going to take a rest, and then we're going to come back for set number 2. Here we go, set number 2. With the arms in front of us. We're retracting, squeezing, holding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Release. We relax. Now we rest. So when we're doing this exercise, what we want to focus on is the hold and the squeeze at the top of the exercise. So when we're pulling our scapula back, and we're squeezing our shoulder blades together, when our elbows are behind us, tucked. So our back should be squeezing back and together. And then when we're in that position, we hold and squeeze for about a count and a half, 2 counts, and then we release. And we want to release fully, so bringing our back forward, up into our chest, like we're reaching for something, and then we retract and we're squeezing again. That's how we perform this exercise, because with the squeeze, that's where the contraction's at, and that's when the blood is pumping into the muscles, and that's what's gonna help our muscles grow and become stronger. And that's what these exercises are focusing right now on, is strength. So, that being said, let's move into set number 3. Here we go, arms in front of us, and we're squeezing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Release, relax. That was our 3 sets of rows. Now we're gonna rest, and then we're gonna go into our next exercise, but now we're taking about 90 seconds to 2 minutes before we start again. So for our next exercise, we're performing tricep extensions. And so all we're gonna do is use our chair. We're gonna kind of hover ourselves over the chair using the armrest, holding with our hands, holding up. What we're gonna do is bend at the elbows. So all we're doing is hovering over this chair, holding ourselves up, and then we come down, sit, and we push back up. And we hold at the top for a count, and then we come back down so our butt touches the chair, and then we push ourselves back up, and that's going to be our tricep extension. So we're going to do our first set. We're hitting 10 reps. So coming down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And relax. Shake arms off. And remember, if you do need help pushing yourself back up, you can keep your feet underneath you. So just to give you that extra, that solid base and that extra push if you need assistance with your arms. So that's our tricep extensions. Now we're going to rest 90 seconds to about 2 minutes, and then we're going to come back for set number 2. We go set number 2 of our tricep extensions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Release, relax. Shake those arms off. And now we're going to rest. And then before we perform our last set of our tricep extensions. So remember, when we're extending, when we're pushing ourselves up, keep your core tight and sucked in. So everything's engaged and strong, and so it helps your base that much more. So you're not wiggling around or loosened up. You want everything tight, strong. So you're bending your elbows and then pushing back up with your triceps. It's just all one fluid motion. So but for now we're resting, and then we're going to continue with our final set of our tricep extensions. Our last and final set of our tricep extensions. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's our tricep extensions. So remember, if you need that extra assistance or help when you're down at the bottom, you can release and then put your hands back when you're ready to push up again. So you're not, if you can't hold that pressure for too long. But so that is our tricep extensions. That also concludes our power and strength portion of these exercises. But now we're going to rest about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, and then we're going to go into our next set of exercises. Right. Now we're going to start with our core exercises. So our first exercise is going to be a knee tuck. So to perform this exercise, we're going to lay flat on the ground. Flat on the ground. We're going to have our knees out, our legs out, and we're just going to bring our knees up towards our chest. So it's going to look something like this. Then go back out and tuck them. Go back out and tuck them. That's how we're going to be performing our knee tucks. We're going to do a set of 12, and this is going to be the first set. So lay back. We have our legs off the ground, and then we bring our knees to our chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then we release, get our legs back on the floor, come up. That's how we perform our knee tucks. That was our first set of 12, and we have 2 more sets left, but for now we're going to take a rest for about 90 seconds, and then we're going to come back for set number 2. Okay. All right. Set number 2 of our knee tucks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That was set number 2 of knee tucks. And remember, if you need to, when you release your legs and you feel like you need a quick break, you could put your legs on the floor and then back up and then tuck and then back and down and up again. That's only if you need to, but if you could have your legs up the whole time, then do that. So there's a couple ways that you're able to manipulate this exercise that could help you if need so. But now we're resting. We're going to come back for our final set of our knee tucks. Okay, so here's set number 3 of our knee tucks, and this is the final set of 12. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's our knee tucks, and that's our first exercise for core. We have 2 more exercises. Now we're going to rest, and then we're going to go into our next core exercise, which is going to be a Russian twist. So again, we're going to be on the floor for that exercise. But for now, we're going to take a couple deep breaths and rest, and then we're going to begin with our Russian twists. So for our next core exercise, we're going to be performing our Russian twist. So now we're going to be performing a Russian twist, which is going to be working on our obliques. And again, we're going to be on the ground, more in an upward position. We're going to be balanced. We're going to have our feet off the ground, hold our feet together, and all we're going to do is rotate our trunk from side to side, setting our hands on the side of our hip, and then back across to our other hip. And that's how we're going to be performing the Russian twist. So we're going to do sets of 12, so it'll be a total of 24 because it's 12 each side. So here goes for set number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. We release and we relax. Take a deep breath. And these are Russian twists. So we're really working on our obliques, which are muscles that cross down into our abdominal wall. So it's really like a lateral part of our abdominals. And so with our rotating motion, we're pulling one side and flexing the other, and then we come across and pull opposite side and flex the other side. So this is the core exercise that we're doing. Now we're going to take a rest, and then we're going to come back for set number 2. Set number 2 of our Russian twists. And remember to modify this. If you can't keep your legs off the ground for too long while performing this motion, you could set your heels on the floor, but we're still laid back, so we're still holding ourselves up with our core, and we're still rotating. So this would be a modification to this exercise, just with our heels on the ground. So another set of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We come up, we release, we relax, take a deep breath. Now we rest for about 90 seconds, and then we're going to come back and finish our final set of our Russian twists. Here we go for our last set of Russian twists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's our Russian twists. That was our second core exercise. Now we're going to rest and then go into our final core exercise. Take a deep breath, loosen up, relax before we're back on the ground performing another core exercise. So for our last core exercise, we're going to be performing a hip bridge. So we're going to be laying on our back with our knees up, feet on the ground. All we're going to do is lift our hips off the ground towards the ceiling, squeeze our glutes, make sure our stomach is tight, suck your belly button to your spine. So you want everything just to be flat, tight, and strong based. We're going to be performing sets of 12. So here we go with set number 1. Remember, hands flat on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We up. We're relaxing. That was hip bridges. So what we're working on is a lot of engagement in our core, not just in our abdominals, but our lower back into our glutes. So our whole core region is engaged when we're performing this movement. And that's why you want everything sucked in and tight and flexed. So that way when you're up, it's like a bridge, it's flat, you should be able to go across it. So that's our hip bridges. We have 2 more sets of those. Now we're gonna rest for about 90 seconds and then come back and complete set number 2. Right, here we go with set number 2 of our hip bridges. Flat, knees bent, feet on the ground, hands on the ground. Lift our hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Release, relax. We're back up and we're resting. And we're gonna go into our next set and our final set of hip bridges. But now we're taking a rest, then we'll come back and finish. Here we go, we're gonna finish strong with our final set of our hip bridges. 1, 2, 3, 4, control all the way down. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Whoa, we're relaxed. Taking a couple deep breaths. Now we're gonna rest for about 90 seconds or 2 minutes. Then we're gonna go into our next set of exercises. This concludes the core section of this exercise program. And now we're gonna go into balance and stability, but for now, take a little rest. So we're gonna start performing our balance and stability exercises. And our first exercise is gonna be simple, just standing tall with our feet together or as close as possible. And we have our chair right next to us for support. Now what we're gonna do is take our hand off the chair. We're gonna stand with our feet together, tall, for 10 seconds. And then we're gonna relax, break, and then come back and do it again. So we're gonna need our timers. Set 10 seconds on the clock. And then we're gonna begin. So remember, feet together or as close as possible. We're gonna have our hand off the chair. It's there if we need it, but we're gonna have our hand off the chair. I'm gonna put 10 seconds. Here we go. Stand tall, relaxed. Try not to move. That's 10 seconds. We're gonna rest about 10 to 20 seconds and come back and do it again. So for this, we're just working on our balance with our feet together underneath us so we don't have a wide base so it's a little less stability, but able to bring everything centered and keep our feet flat on the ground, keeping us still, standing tall, and being able to be steady. But again, we do have our chair here for support, but this is just so we can do it without the support if need be. So here we go for our next 10 seconds. Feet together, hand off chair, and we begin. rest for another 10 to 20 seconds, and come back for our final set. We're standing with our feet together. So here we go, set number 3 and our final set. Hand off the chair, 10 seconds, and we begin. It's 10 seconds. Now we're going to rest, then come back for our second exercise of stability. So for this exercise, if you did feel yourself wobbling or leaning, just remember to correct yourself and then come back to the center and just start back where you're supposed to be. So for our next balance exercise, we're going to be with our feet together again, still have a chair next to us for support, but we're going to be reaching. So our feet together, we're standing tall, we're going to reach forward, come back to the center, we're going to reach left, come back to the center, and we're going to reach right, come back to the center. And we're going to perform each one of those movements 3 times, and that's going to total 1 set. And we're going to do 3 sets of these. So here we go. So we're going to begin. Remember, feet together, or as close as possible. We have our chair next to us for our support. What we do is we're reaching forward, center, reaching left, center, reaching right, center. That's 1. We're back to the middle, left, right, 2, left, right. Now our final 3, left, right, and we're down. That's set number 1. We have 2 more sets of these. Now we could rest for about 30 to 60 seconds, and then we'll come back and do it again. So here we go for set number 2. Put our feet together. Chair right next to us for support. Forward, left, right. That's 1. Left, right. That's 2. Left, right. That's 3. Remember that at the top, when we turn and reach to the sides, we are rotating our trunk and our upper body, but our feet are staying together underneath us, and our lower body isn't rotating at all. So all we're doing is reaching, and then we recenter, and then we're reaching again. But our lower body stays stable, and our feet flat on the ground, and they don't move. And they stay together, therefore working on that stability and that balance underneath us while we're doing other movements. So we're going to rest for about 30 to 60 seconds and then come back and complete our final set of these. Here we go for set number 3 and our final set. With our feet together. And then we're reaching. Center, left, center, right, center. That's 1. Forward, left, right. That's 2. Forward, left, right. That's 3. That completes our standing with our feet together and our reaches. And now we're going to be performing standing tall with our feet together with our eyes closed. So what this is going to help us work on is giving us that mind-muscle connection while we're balancing standing up on our feet, which is a normal movement, everyone does it, but with our eyes closed, so we're not seeing where we are or what we're doing. So it's just giving us, working on our neuromotor musculature, and still working on our stability, but just in another sense, with another connection with more of our mind and our body. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna have our feet together, we're just standing tall, and we're just closing our eyes, and we're gonna hold that for 30 seconds. Remember, we have our chair next to us if need be. It's here for support. If you feel yourself leaning or falling over, all you do is just reach down and grab the chair. So we're gonna need our timers. So again, what we're working on here with our standing feet together and our eyes are gonna be closed, we're working on our proprioceptors, which is the ability of the body connecting with where it's at and what it's doing. And so working on that with our eyes being closed, so we're feeling everything with just our body and not our senses. So now we're going to begin with this exercise. So we're going to begin with, like we've been doing these past other 2 bounce exercises that we just did. We have our feet together, standing tall, have our chair next to us for support. We're gonna start our 30 seconds, and we're just gonna stand tall with our eyes closed. So here we go, 30 seconds, and we begin. Remember, just feel yourself on the ground. You know what you're doing, you're just standing tall, feet flat, they're underneath you. And if you feel yourself wobbling or leaning, all you do is just bring yourself centered again. Use the chair if you need to, just know where you're at, and then come back off the chair, and just hold yourself tall. All you're doing is just standing straight up. That's 30 seconds. So let's rest, relax for about 60 seconds, and then we're gonna come back and do it again for another set of 30 seconds with our eyes closed. So here we go for set number 2. We have our 30 seconds on the clock. We have our chair for support. We have our feet together. We're standing tall, and we're closing our eyes. And here we go for 30 seconds. Just really picture your feet on the ground. You're steady. You're just standing tall, standing still. That's 30 seconds. We're going to rest about another 60 seconds, and then we're going to come back and do our final set of these. So our last set of 30 seconds, feet underneath us together, and we close our eyes, 30 seconds, and we begin. It's 30 seconds, and that completes our balance and stability exercises. Now we're going to take a short rest, and then we're going to go into our next set of exercises. So now after we finish our balance and stability, we're going to get our heart rate back up, and we're going to be performing some cardio exercises. So for cardio, all we're going to do is some jabs. I'm sure everyone's watched boxing. If you haven't, you know what a punching motion is. So all we're going to do is have our feet staggered a little bit, have a strong base, about shoulder width apart still. Slight bend of the knees, have our hands in front of us, right chin level. Now we're going to do is extend one arm forward, also bringing the hip with it, and then we retract our hand back to our beginning stance, and then go other hand and extend it forward, bringing our other hip with it, and then we're back to our center. And we're gonna do this for time, so we're gonna do it for 30 seconds. So let's get in our stance. Strong stance, strong base, slight bend at the knees. Hands to your chin, and we're jabbing. Get a little bounce with it. So when you retract your hands, it's like a quarter squat. So you just constant motion. That's 30 seconds. Now we're gonna rest for 30 to 60 seconds, and then come back and do it again. So round 2 of our cardio, we're doing our jabs, doing our 30 seconds, and here we go. That's 30 seconds. We're gonna rest another 30 to 60 seconds and then come back and do it again for our last set of cardio. So our last set of cardio, here we go with our jabs, 30 seconds. Keep your strong stance, keep bounces in your steps, and just continue rotation with your jabs coming forward and back. So here we go. It's 30 seconds. Our heart rate is a little elevated, and we're gonna keep it somewhat elevated, but for now, we're gonna rest, and we're gonna come back and continue with speed and agility. So now we're moving on to speed and agility. So for our first speed and agility exercise, we're gonna do a change of direction drill. So for me, being in a backyard, I have a space with grass in it, but if you don't have a backyard, you could also do this in a hallway inside your house. So all you would do is you pick a center of a grass area or a yard, or if you have access to a park, you could do this at a park, or if you're in a hallway, just be in the middle of the hallway, and you pick a side to run to, and then you stop when it ends, and you turn, you change direction, and you run to the opposite side. You stop, turn, and you're changing direction back. And we're going to do this a total of 3 times. So it doesn't matter where you're at as long as you hit 3 times. So all of this is 3 times down and back. So you start in the middle, you go one direction, back the other direction, that's 1. Then you go to the direction you started in, and then back to the other direction, that's 2, and so on. So 3 down and backs from wherever you're able to perform this exercise. All it's focusing on is change of direction, keeping your balance while you're running in one direction. You slow up, and you're able to turn your body and run into another direction. Keeping yourself agile. So here we go, this is how it's going to be. This is our first set. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. So that's how you perform a change of direction drill. Remember, if you're able to, you could come, and when you get to an end point, you could put your hand on the ground and then push and change the direction. And then when you get to that point, put your hand on the ground and go the opposite way. But if you feel like you're not able to do that yet, you just need to stop. And then you just turn your body and run the other way. So that's our change of direction drill. That was first set. We have 2 more sets. Now we're going to take about 90 seconds to 2-minute rest. So here we go with set number 2 for a change of direction drill. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. So in that one, I was putting my hands on the ground before I start and turn to change my direction and run the other way. Like I said before, if you're able to, then I would do so. But if you're not, you don't need to. All you need to focus on is you're able to stop, turn, and run in the opposite direction of where you started from. So that was set number 2. Take a deep breath, relax, and then I'm gonna rest and come back for set number 3. All right, here we go for set number 3 of our change direction drill. And that's the last set. It's 2. That's 3. That concludes our change of direction drill. Working on agility. And now we're going to rest for about 90 seconds to a minute, then come back with our second agility and speed drill, which is going to be a vertical jump. So for our second speed and agility exercise, we're going to be performing a vertical jump. So what a vertical jump is just a powerful jump straight up into the sky. Usually we would do it to jump as high as possible, but let's say for a beginner, we could work with a slow tempo down to about a half squat, hold for a count, and then we would go into the motion of if we're exploding up straight into the air without leaving the ground though. And if you feel like you could leave the ground, same, feet shoulder width apart, our knees lined with our feet and our toes. We're into a half squat, hold, and then we jump and land back into a half squat. So we're not taking the pressure all onto our knees. And then if you feel like you can, and you've done these enough and practiced these enough, we could, same thing in our half squat, little static hold, and then we explode and jump as high as you can. So for now, we're going to perform 3 sets, but I'm going to show you each one of those: beginning, intermediate, and advanced. So first is beginning. We're going to do a set of 5, and it's all it is putting ourselves into an explosive motion into the air, but without leaving the ground. So we have our athletic stance, feet about shoulder width apart, our knees lined with our toes. We work slow into about a half squat, a 1 count hold, and we explode up. Make sure we're driving our hips forward, squeezing our glutes, and driving our hands straight into the sky. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be a way to work on the process in doing a vertical jump for beginners. That was set number 1. We're gonna take a rest for about 90 seconds and come back for set number 2, and I'll show you how to do it if we were coming off the ground. Now we're back for set number 2 of our vertical jumps, and now we're gonna be leaving the ground. So yes, we're gonna be explosive, but we're not gonna jump as high as we can. We're just gonna work on leaving off the ground. So same positioning, feet about shoulder width, knees lined up with your toes. Slow down into a half squat, slight pause, and then we're driving up and our feet come off the ground. So here we go, set of 5. 1, 2, remember to land in that same half squat. Come back up. 3, 4, 5. So that was working on coming off the ground, and now we're gonna go into working exploding and jumping as high as we can. So that was set number 2. We're gonna go into our last set. Now we're gonna take a 90-second rest before we perform that last set. So now we're doing our final set of our vertical jumps. And this one, we're just gonna be jumping as high as we can. So again, we have our legs about shoulder width, knees lined up with our toes. We go down into our half squat, slight pause, building that static energy, and then we explode up into the air, catch yourself in a squat, come back up and reset. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was our vertical jumps. We worked through every phase from beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So remember, if you're just starting off, we're going into a half squat, slight pause at the bottom, and we're driving our hands straight into the sky, pushing our hips forward, squeezing our glutes, but we're not coming off the ground. We're just working the explosion and working those type 2 fibers in our muscles, in our quads, glutes, hamstrings, and even calves. Remembering our hand drive. And then for our second phase, we're coming off the ground, just working to feel what it is, to feel what our feet is like coming off the ground, and feeling that initial impact once we land, and then going as high as we can and catching ourselves at the bottom, properly landing in a squat so your muscles are taking all the pounding and not your joints. So that concludes our speed and agility. Now it's time for a cool down. Now what we're gonna do is begin with a walk, just to take some deep breaths and get our heart rate back down, and just cool down our body. So we're just gonna walk for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. Once our heart rate is regulated and we catch our breath, we're gonna stretch. So for now, just walk. You could just walk anywhere. You can walk inside your house, around your house, just until catch your breath and your heart rate is down and regulated. And then we're gonna just take a couple of deep breaths, and then we're gonna go into our stretching. So now that we're a little cooled down, we caught our breath, and our heart rate is back to normal, we're gonna begin with our stretches. So our first stretch is just going to be downward dog pose, as it's stated in yoga. So we're just gonna be on our knees, and we're gonna fall forward, having our arms spread out in front of us. And we're just gonna have our back flat, really pulling our hips back, stretching our lats and our mid and lower back, and holding that for about 30 seconds. So like 10 more. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back up, taking a deep breath. So what that did was stretch out our lats, our middle and lower back, our shoulders, and our arms, which were all straightened out in front of us, so they're all getting stretched. And now we're going to be up into our shoulder stretch. So we're going to have our arm straight up in the air over our head, leaned against the wall. And you want your lats at the side of your body to touch the wall. And you just hold that for about 30 seconds. Ten more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You switch sides again for 30 seconds. That's our shoulder stretch. And now we're going to go into lower body stretching, because we worked a lot of our lower body with our cardio, our speed and agility. So now we're going to do, you could do this on a wall or a pillar if you have in your house. What you want to do is have your feet staggered, one knee bent in front of you. You want your back straight, not arched. You want a leg behind you, and you drive your hip forward, leaning on this front leg. And you're just doing the calf stretch, calves and hamstrings. Holding for about 30 seconds. About 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch legs. Drive that hip forward, stretching out those calves and hamstrings. More seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we have our quad stretch. Pulling on that quad. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch legs. Finish off with a hip stretch. So we're down on one knee, leg bent in front of us. We just drive our hip into the ground. Switch legs. 3, 2, 1. We relax. Take a deep breath. Now we're all cooled down, stretched out, relaxed. And this concludes this video and this exercise session. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.